All right, business plug, product plug, new merch drop. Check that out. Any service, any distance. SANDI'S hand-drawn logo on a hoodie sweatshirt. This is a medium, real comfortable. Check it out in the Teespring link below. We also have t-shirts and tanks and stuff down there. Business plug, hashtag sponsored, hashtag ad. Hi there, Coach Sage Candy of SageRunning.com here with a training talk analysis. We're going to talk about Kilian Jornet today. Killian Jornet ran a 10K road race, and it's also going to be kind of the ramifications of my analysis of any surface, any distance, but also the idea of getting out of your comfort zone, pushing yourself into a new type of race or terrain or surface that may bring out some of your weaknesses because you're not used to it, but it also might make you stronger or more confident or just be fun to explore in the realm of distance running. All right, so if you don't know who Kilian Jornet is, he's basically, I'd say, the greatest of all time, the GOAT of mountain trail running. He's a once-in-a-lifetime type of talent. For this decade, he's been dominating the last over 10 years, 15 years probably. And you know, he specializes in what I'd say mountain running races, the Sky Running World Championship, the Golden Trail Series World Championship, also mountaineering exploits like doing the Matterhorn FKT and really hardcore mountain stuff that I don't even know about because he came from ski mountaineering. But he's also known for being a really great runner with range, a distance runner with range, and a mountain athlete with range. And you know, his specialty is technical downhill trails, really steep grades. Like I said, Matterhorn FKT, he's gone up Everest, he's set all sorts of high altitude records, he's done stuff on skis, vertical kilometer, short 30-minute efforts, less than 30 minutes, right? Really high VO2 max, maximum oxygen capacity, and I've had the great privilege of being in the same races as him. I wouldn't say I'm actually raced him. There's been some races over the years where we had some showdowns at the Sky Running World Championships where I was ahead of him for maybe the first half of the race, like the 50K. I've led him at Transvolcania Ultramarathon a couple times, and not really in the Golden Trail Series. I've seconded him at Pikes Peak last year, of course, but he's always passed me back, and then he's always finished pretty far ahead of me and usually won the race, and I'm not usually always second place. Sometimes I'm a lot further back, like at Sarah's and all last year, also iconic mountain race. So he's very dominant, and he's very dominant in the trail mountain running scene in these races that range from vertical kilometer to 10K all the way up to 100 miles. And so, you know, some speculation was on the letsrun.com message boards, and I chimed in on there. And I don't mean to be like throwing my opinion out there so much. It's just the fact that I like to see these two worlds, the road and track world and then the ultra mountain running trail world or mountaineering world, and see them overlap and collide kind of, because there's two different perspectives there. And you've got these people in the ultra mountaineering side who've maybe never run a track 10K or a road race or a flat road marathon. And then on the other side, you've got these sometimes high school kids who run track, or these roadies, so to speak, who only do road marathons and flat running pavement types of races, and they've never run a real mountain ultra trail race. And realize I do say mountain ultra trail or MUT because it encompasses all types of races in that realm. So it could be a VK, it could be very steep and short at 5K. It could be an ultra on the roads like Comrades or Lake Sonoma, or it could just be a trail race, and how flat or hilly it is or technical it is might really depend on the event, but that's a big realm, right? Whereas major city road marathons and road races, generally they're kind of on the flat side. Even a hilly race like Boston or New York, compared to like a trail race, it's not a ton of elevation gain, right, or loss, right? So Kilian's shown range in the MUT running realm because he's won long ultras like Hard Rock, Western States. He's won, you know, countless others over 100K, but I wouldn't say his his true talent has shown at the ultra long races. UTMB also, he's won that several times, I believe. But he's also been beaten at UTMB by Francois Dane and some other runners at times. And so he's great at 100 miles. 100 miles in the mountains is a lot different than like a 50K in the mountains. And I'd actually argue, and I got into this on the Let's Run boards, that some of his performances at the 50K to 30K type of distance in the mountains are some of his best performances. Now, again, I don't know how to rate the Matterhorn FKT and some of these other amazing performances. He's had so many great ones over the years, but his performance last year, I believe, at Sierra Zinal, iconic mountain race with decades and decades of history, thousands of runners competing each year, a lot of the best mountain runners in the world, a lot of guys that have run really fast road marathons, like, you know, 2:11, 2:10 marathon runners, sub 28 flat 10K guys. That's the record he took down at Sierra Zinal. Jonathan Wyatt, who also has the course record at Mount Washington, he has the record at the Jungfrau Marathon. Jonathan Wyatt was about a 28 flat 10K runner, also an Olympian in the marathon and the 5K, and he was a climbing monster. And his record at Sierra Zinal was considered like untouchable. And for Killian to shatter that last year and run a 2:25 at Sierra Zinal and to beat such a competitive field at Sierra Zinal last year, to me, it was probably his most amazing performance. But yeah, he's won Zagama a lot. He's won, Transvolcania, countless races, the Skyrunning World Championships, the Golden Trail Series International World Championships, Pikes Peak a couple times, right? So we know how good Killian is. So it was really interesting in this analysis. Yesterday, Killian jumped in a 10K road race, relatively flat. Again, I don't know exactly how flat it was, but it was this race, I believe, in Norway, and I'm not even going to try to pronounce it. I'll spell it out there. I'm mispronouncing it. I actually tried to look up how to say it, but it was such a roll. My pronunciation's horrible. So that's the name of the race. It was a 10K. It's in Norway. There were world-class road runners in it, like the Ingebrigtsen, Jakob. It's not Jacob, it's Jakob Ingebrigtsen, I believe. Could be pronouncing that wrong. You know, he's a world-class runner, young runner, very fast. He's the type of guy that could go under 28 minutes. He actually ran over 35 minutes in this race because I think he was doing some sort of fartlek workout where he was doing like 240 kilometer split surges and then jogging and then yo-yoing back and forth. It was kind of weird, but you know, he's a very fast runner, right? He's way under 4 minutes in the mile. He's run really fast 5Ks on the track. His whole family, his brothers, but there were other world-class runners in this. So Killian's snuck into the top 20. And he ran 29:59, which is a great time because everyone's speculating, oh, what's Killian going to run in this road race? Usually Killian says, oh, flat is boring, you know, the road pavement, he doesn't like that, he's a mountain athlete, right? I get it, because I've come from the opposite side, kind of, although I really like technical mountain trails, and I came from the flat track and road background, so it's kind of an interesting thing to me, and people throwing out what times he's running, and what types, how his workouts are going, and whether or not this influenced that, and it's hard to say. It's hard to say coming from a mountain perspective. I'd say I think his ski mountaineering is very specific actually to mountain running. Doing skimo in the winter and then transitioning to mountain running in the summer, you're grinding uphill at steep grades, you're learning how to pick a line on downhills, using your leg muscles, using your core. Power hiking practice, but also hiking with trekking poles is very similar. Being at high altitude all winter in alpine environments, getting comfortable with being on mountains is very similar with mountain running versus ski mountaineering. That being said, Killian has shown that he's got speed and wheels because he has done well at races like Sierra Zinal, which is not really that technical. It's a pure mountain race because it has a lot of climbing, but it's not really a technical trail. Even UTMB is not really a technical trail, and granted, Killian hasn't done races like JFK 50 or Lake Sonoma or some California style ultra marathon trails, 50-mile distance like the old North Face in San Francisco, but he has won Western States, also not very technical either, and in the heat, which he really doesn't like. So he's shown range there, and he's shown range that he's got good running mechanics. I've seen him drop sub 5-minute mile pace, sub 3:07 per kilometer pace during the Mont Blanc Marathon, which coming out of Chamonix starts out kind of on more flat roads and dirt roads. And, you know, a lot of these races have dirt road sections that it's very similar to running on pavement, actually. So yes, Killian's strength are in the steep, really steep mountain stuff, the scrambling, the technical stuff, especially the technical downhill. I wouldn't say he's the best flat out climber. I think there's a couple guys that might be best flat out climbers, but all around he's the best because he's one of the best technical descenders, if not the best technical downhill runner. And his uphill is still really, really good. So all around, he's the best mountain runner type of athlete. So 29:59 in the 10K, I think congrats to him. I mean, that's a really good performance. He said he had some niggles and pains, probably from training on the flat. I could relate to that too. Transitioning to flat road running is very painful sometimes coming from the trails, and mountain running works different muscles. It works your leg muscles very differently. So he's had to transition to that. I know he's done some treadmill workouts because he's posted them on Instagram, some flat treadmill workouts and stuff like that. Always good for the speed. He even went to the track, I believe. Also necessary to run a fast 10K. You kind of have to do that. And the way he paced his 10K, this 29:59, was that he went out very fast the first 5K, probably trying to stick with some faster guys. And I believe he split about a 14:35 through his first 5K and then slowed down. So he really went for it, right? Going out at 29:10 pace and then fading to that. And I could kind of relate to that because my 10K PR from running track in college, on the track, mind you, granted it was a long time ago, was 29:47, and I paced that a little bit of a positive split as well. But my flat out 5K PR was only 14:29. That being said, this isn't about me. We're about comparing Killian's relative performances and the interesting analysis of getting out of your comfort zone. And so Killian has a really high VO2 max. He's a really high VO2 max. I believe it's been measured in the high 80s, mid 80s. Correct me if I'm wrong on here, but very high VO2 max. So that means you can move oxygen to your muscles really fast, right? It means the heart and lungs, you could have big set of heart and lungs. You could breathe really hard, high altitude pushes. It's great for altitude running. It's great for uphill pushes. It's great for fast flat running as well. But this is the kicker here. The body, the leg muscles have to be used to those mechanics of running flat and fast. So running sub 3 minute per kilometer pace, 450 per mile pace for 10K on a flat road, relatively flat road, that's a different strain, a skeletal muscular stress type of strain on the muscles, right? It's a different movement pattern. It's not like grinding up the mountain at Sierra Zinal where you have a 20% grade uphill and you're just trying not to power hike because you're barely going, you're not going very fast, but your legs and lungs are screaming at you. That's a different kind of movement pattern, right? Hiking with trekking poles at UTMB, right? It's quite a bit different, especially in a long ultra. So, you know, and the pounding of going down a mountain, right? Skiing downhill, running down a mountain, probably more similar than just running flat on a track or road. And then you got the pavement, the surface difference, right? Hard pavement, the rebound effect, it's a lot different than if you're used to landing on roots and sticks and uneven rocks and pushing off with different muscles in your body. So the economy, the efficiency, the running economy is tied up in your running form and your musculature, so to speak. Whether or not he can extend that on a road marathon is up in there. People had said, oh, well, he was on the podcast and they said he could run maybe 2:15 in the marathon or 2:12 or 2:20. I don't know. I mean, generally, if you plug in a 30-minute, sub 30-minute 10K, you're looking at least a 2:18 probably. If you're an endurance monster, maybe 2:15. But you have to have the economy and the efficiency to handle the pounding on flat pavement for that long of a distance. Does it correlate? It correlates roughly, but there's a lot of really fast 10K guys that never crack 2:20. But also there's some guys that are, you know, barely cracking 30 minutes that have also run under 2:14. So it's a trade-off. It's hard to say exactly. But Killian getting out of his comfort zone, you got to respect that. You got to respect that. Coming from, you know, all this mountaineering experience, phenomenal GOAT, greatest of all time, mountain ultra trail runner, to going to a very competitive 10K road race that's relatively flat. I think there were some hills in it too. So that factors into the time also. He was kind of in no man's land there near the end. So, you know, that's a lot harder than time trialing on a track. So you got that performance in context. And I appreciate it too, coming from the any surface, any distance motto. I do not have that kind of range because I do not do very well at any service, any distance. Yes, I came from an extensive road and track background. I was kind of too slow at the 10K really, so I moved up to the marathon. But when I've tried 100-milers like UTMB in Western States, I've flopped spectacularly. When I've tried some other mountain races, sometimes I've done very bad. Whereas Killian has been kind of a model of consistency. Like even when he has a bad race, like a really bad race, he's still top 3 podium, basically, in almost all the trail races he's done. I could think of one where maybe he wasn't at the Yurok 100K in Colorado when it was the Skyrunning World Final in 2013, but that's the only one I could think of actually. So phenomenal athlete, great inspiration, and this begs the question to you, and you could also comment below with your own thoughts on this analysis of Kilian Jornet and his 10K performance and mixing it up. But the question goes out to you guys, have you ever gotten out of your comfort zone, or do you plan on getting out of your comfort zone, right? If you're used to just running 5Ks or 10Ks, do you aim on running a marathon? Or if you've always been running trails and ultra marathons, are you going to move down to maybe a 5K or 10K road race or a marathon road race, flat and fast, right? Try to qualify for Boston, something like that. So what has taken you out of your comfort zone in the realm of running and sport? Maybe you did a different sport. Maybe you did mountaineering or cycling or something like that too. So comment below with your experience. Thanks for following along on here. Again, check out our Teespring merch. We got it linked in the channel below there. A lot of new products, any surface, any distance, you know us. Thanks so much for your support on here. Coach Sandy and I sell training plans at stagerunning.com. Thanks to Patreon supporters for really making this channel possible. Shout out to all you subscribers, getting close to 200,000 subscribers. Big giveaway coming up, so thanks for sharing, liking this on social media. Hope you're doing well, and stay tuned for more.